Welcome back. Did you know that hearing loss is the third most common health problem in the U.S.? About 48 million Americans have lost some hearing.
And so many people, Eraldo, take the sense of hearing for granted and how it can directly affect their quality of life. So here to talk about this topic is Dr. Melissa Haish. Welcome, Dr. Haish.
Hi, Dr.
Thank
Haish,
you
how
very
are
much.
you?
Thank you for having me.
Thanks for being
Appreciate
here.
it.
So how might someone know if they have some hearing loss?
Well, there are a lot of ways that somebody would think they know, and then oftentimes they may not realize it, but their spouse or their family and friends would be the ones to know. And very often that's what I tell the people that come into my office. The first people to really know if you have a hearing loss are the people that you love, because they identify it first. You see, hearing loss is an incipient kind of pathology. So it comes on you gradually and you start to compensate. You start to not go to those noisy restaurants, you don't go
Right.
out for your brunches, you don't go to the theater or watch TV so much anymore.
Right.
And so you don't realize that you're compensating and changing your life to accommodate for this loss of hearing. But your family knows because they have to raise their voice.
Right.
Your family knows because
Right.
that
Volume on the
TV
television.
is right. The TV is louder than it should be.
Right.
The family knows because you're not participating in conversations. Your friends know because you're not coming out with them anymore.
Right,
So oftentimes that's the first sign.
right.
The second and third sign is when you actually can look at yourself and say, oh, wait a second, why am I not choosing to go to the theater? Why am I not choosing to go to brunch? Why am I not doing all of these things? Because I'm not communicating as well.
Is it possible to have hearing loss in certain situations than others?
It definitely is possible. In fact, when a hearing loss first starts, it often affects us in noisy situations, but we're fine one-on-one. So in
Right.
this circumstance, somebody would be fine, but they go to a noisy or even a somewhat noisy restaurant and they start to break down.
And if the hearing loss continues and goes without being treated, what can happen to somebody?
First of all, it will affect all of the other situations that it didn't affect when it was more mild or moderate hearing loss. The second thing is it affects somebody physically in terms of their hearing loss. It affects them functionally in terms of their communication. It affects them in their lifestyle, their quality of life. They do start pulling back from a lot of the things they like to do or things that they have to do. If they're still working, it can affect work.
Right.
So it can affect that. If they're getting older and they have a hearing loss that's not treated properly, it can start affecting their cognition and it can start affecting their memory. In fact, early onset dementia is very much linked to untreated hearing loss.
Wow.
So it's very important to have it tested and to treat it
Right.
in a timely fashion
course.
because we'd want to avoid that.
Sure.
So in a music concert thing, it's measured by decibels, right? Is that the way it is measured, the hearing?
When we do a hearing test.
Right.
Yes, it's measured by, your hearing is measured in a scale on a chart. And
Okay.
if you picture a graph, the horizontal axis would be the pitch or the frequency, and it gets higher and higher. And the vertical axis would be the intensity or the loudness, which is measured in decibels.
Decibels.
So normal hearing is anywhere from 0 to 20 or 25 decibels across the board, across all pitches.
Okay, and I'm sure you brought some products here for us to tell us a little
I
about how to
did.
either avoid, reduce the noise or improve the noise. So you want to share with us some of these items?
To
or-
improve the noise around us.
noise
There's
around
a
us,
bunch of
correct.
different products here that are related to hearing healthcare, and how we function.
Okay.
So the first few products are the fun products. There are products that help us hear music better. Right here, we have some earplugs called musicians' earplugs. What I love about musicians' earplugs is that it offers you a non-linear attenuation of all pitches.
Okay.
So that means that across the board, there's a different amount of sound that's taken away. So that allows you to still hear well in a situation where you have to, whether you're playing music or you're listening to music. So you go to your concert, you can still hear the music.
Right. Right.
So if someone who doesn't have hearing loss would be able to use that product then?
That kind of product is for everybody.
Oh, that's
People,
wonderful.
everybody, whether you have hearing loss or not, everybody should have a product like that. Because that kind of a product will help you hear and still protect your hearing in situations where you still want to hear, whether it be you're playing music or you're listening to music. You can protect your hearing with a a stock kind of earplug that you get in a Duane Reade or a CVS
Right.
that's a foam plug, you can protect that from loud noises by using something like that. But it gives you a muddy sound when you really still need to have some hearing.
So what causes the ringing in your ears then?
That's a great question. There's lots of things that cause ringing in the ears. The most obvious could be just being exposed to loud noises for extended periods of time. In fact, some of the musicians that I work with, they're always on stage, they're working with loud music on a regular basis, and because they don't protect their hearing, if they don't protect their hearing,
Right.
they find that the next day or 2 days later, they're still having ringing in their ears. I'm sure when you've gone to concerts,
Yes.
you remember
Yes.
days
Right.
where you've gone to see your favorite band, and the
Right.
next morning you wake up and you have ringing in your ears.
Right.
That's from noise damage.
So how might someone treat that? Is there a cure for that tinnitus, we call it, right?
Tinnitus or tinnitus, and there's a lot of ways to treat it, and it does depend on the cause. Noise is one cause. It can just be in concert with a hearing loss. So sometimes you need to treat the hearing loss, and that treats the tinnitus. Sometimes you have to protect your hearing, and that will stop the tinnitus from occurring. Sometimes the tinnitus is so bad and so handicapping that we need to go through a tinnitus retraining program. A specialized program that addresses the sound in the ears and helps to retrain the brain from hearing that sound and processing that sound and making the brain process a different sound.
Good.
So, and there's a number of ways we do that, and it gets complex.
So where can people get more information about you, Dr. Heish?
About me?
Yeah.
Well, you can get more information from my website, NewYorkSpeechAndHearing.com. I am very active in the American Academy of Audiology, so you can find me on their website as well.
All right. Well, beautiful. Well, thank you so much. That was
Thank you.
wonderful.
And
Thank you for being here.
informative.
Yeah,
You're
absolutely.
very welcome. Thank
Okay,
you very
guys.
much.
Still to come, we have some must-have items to tell you all about, so don't go anywhere.